It's one of the top races you'll see on the ballot next Tuesday, the race for U.S. Senate. An incumbent well known in California politics faces off with a supporter of former President Trump and a billionaire.
Good evening. I'm Reed Cowan in for Ryan Yamamoto.
Hi, I'm Sarah Donchie. It's a battle between a frontrunner trying to hold on to his job and two challengers who could not be more different.
That's right. KPIX 5's Kiet Do introduces you to the U.S. Senate candidates in California and explains why this year's race is a little more confusing than usual.
So before we dive into the front runners, just know that you're going to be voting for senator twice. The first time is for the partial or unexpired term that is left vacant after Kamala Harris left office to become vice president. The second time is for the full 6-year term for U.S. Senator.
The man currently holding the job is Alex Padilla. As California's first Latino senator, he made history during the Supreme Court confirmation hearings by speaking Spanish.
La Corte Suprema decide docenas de casos. I'm blessed to be bilingual. By having some of the conversation in this confirmation hearing in Spanish serves the purpose of getting more people included in the process.
And I'm humbled.
In 2021, Governor Newsom appointed him to the Senate and captured that moment in an emotional video call. In the year and a half since, Padilla has been learning on the job, building alliances in a Senate that is very white.
How is the son of Mexican immigrants going to fit in a place like that? How do you win over friends? Who's going to want to work with the new guy?
I'm not there to ask for permission to engage in conversations. I'm there to make a difference, and I'm not shy about utilizing my experience and the relationships I've built with leaders at the state and local level throughout California to weigh in on the most significant of issues.
As for addressing gridlock on Capitol Hill, Padilla says he reached out to Texas Senator John Cornyn when a large storm knocked out power to the entire state of Texas and talked about how heavy winds in California have knocked down power lines here and caused massive wildfires. Cornyn and Padilla ended up working together.
We developed a bill known as the Power On Act, which would utilize federal funding to work with utilities, not just to improve the reliability of the grid, but to the resiliency of the grid because of the realities of climate change. That's one example that bipartisanship is still possible.
It is the unforgivable sin that any politician can commit, is not controlling inflation.
The lead Republican challenger is Mark Moyser. He's a constitutional attorney and a triathlete and opposes Padilla on virtually every major issue. Abortion?
Roe v. Wade, it was a bad constitutional decision because it took power away from the state and turned it over to the federal government.
Gun control?
Do you support universal background checks?
I believe that the Second Amendment says shall not infringe. Congress shall not infringe.
Is climate change real?
I ask people, can you please even define what climate change is?
The 2020 elections, do you accept the results?
There are so many irregularities about this election that I do not feel any American who looks at it can have confidence that they know what the actual results are.
Can you say if you've gotten the vaccine or not?
That is something that's between me and my doctor. It's nobody else's business.
It doesn't match California voters at all.
Donna Crane, a political science professor at San Jose State, says each of Moyser's positions is a fatal blow in California, where Democrats outnumber Republicans 2-1.
With no disrespect, he's sort of what we would call a classic nuisance candidate, very likely running for some other purpose, very little chance of winning. I just don't see a pathway forward for him.
I'm Dan O'Dowd, and I approve this message.
Last, we have Dan O'Dowd, a billionaire software company founder who spent millions of dollars blanketing the airwaves bashing Tesla.
So you're running for Senate, but then the message is Tesla software is terrible. Do I have that right?
Well, that's the beginning. That's a part of the message. The whole message is much bigger.
O'Dowd is running as a single-issue candidate, essentially using Tesla as a way to segue into the broader issue of cybersecurity. O'Dowd says our infrastructure, power grids, hospitals, and yes, self-driving cars are all at risk of a cyber attack.
What about homelessness? What about the environment? What about the drought?
When they bring down the power grid, everyone will be homeless. You won't be able to go anywhere. You won't be able to live in your home. I just think it's a more important issue.
I want to be polite about this because I think he's a good person and I'm sure his heart's in the right place. But it's demonstrating a bit of naivete about how politics work.
Professor Joe Tuman at San Francisco State says for O'Dowd to be taken seriously, he'll have to talk about other issues than just self-driving cars.
Basically, he just, as I said at the beginning of this, just stays in his own lane. Then what he's telling us is that he's not comfortable discussing these other things. He's just comfortable with what he knows. If you're going to serve in the Senate, you have to know a hell of a lot more than that.
Kiet Do, KPIX 5.